What is the Kinesis data streams and why do we use it? Kinesis data streams is a scalable and the fully manageable services provided by the AWS for the processing the real-time streaming data. It's operated the it's operated between the producers and the consumer model, where the producers send the data to the stream, and the consumer retrieve the process the data. Uh, why we use the Kansas data streams? Kansas data streams is the idea or the scenarios of the real-time data processing, such as a bank transactions monitoring. Like if you want to transition, it's a fraud transaction or the real-time transactions. If you go in the fraud transaction, then user get the alert it was a fraud. If you block the code or anything else like that. And IoT device analysis, I want to devise analysis like IoT sites going the up or the down, uh, like these how these works in the real time as very and the log event streaming. You can also use in the log event streaming like these scenarios application telemetry. These are the primary uses of the Kansas data streams: the ability to handle the large scale streaming data in the reliable scalable with the minimal infrastructure management. Those are the producers. The producers are the data providers, like entities that have to send the data to the stream. This can be including like IoT devices, software applications, AWS SDKs, or the Kansas producer libraries or the Kansas agents. Uh, the These are the sectors. Like if you want to build a software of the bank sector, and if you want to monetize the data where the applications or the real time in the real time where the applications are installing, where the data was going, where the data was retrieving, using the Kansas data steps you can monetize the real-time data, real-time logs. uh, and then using the and then we have the plot them. We discuss this later. We can real-time data and process the data, and then plot them, or we can using the analysis what was the going on, or anything error occurs, we can easily modify the applications and rebuild the application and re-upload them if the something is hacking going on, anything else. Data streams, the core of the system is a data is a system. It is consists of the shades. Each shade handle up to the 1 megabytes per second or the incoming data, or 1000 messages per shade. Supports up to producers send the data to streams the as have the partitions keys, and these partitions keys and the sequence numbers will help to identify the consumers, get the data, and then use the process help to route and organize the data. The number of the share determines the total the throughout to the streams, and you can scale up to the down based the data is requirement. Like if you in the real I show you the example the later. The Kansas data streams have the two options, like frozen and shared mode. And we using the shared mode, like when you're the practicing using the shade mode is a better option. The frozen mode is increase the shades increase the based on the flow. If the flow is increases, shade will be increases. If the flow will be decreases, shade automatically decreases. It's one of the consumers of the service of the application, the process that retrieve the data from the streaming. Example, like we can in the partitions keys and sequence numbers, it's the 2 megabytes per second for the shade. And then we have the put the data or the AWS lambda, and the producers produce the data, and then we can decode using like AWS lambda, and they convert it to the CS files or the store the data, or we can use some real-time processing using the AWS lambda, or using the data firehouse and the put the data firehouse, putting the data firehouse in the center, and do some processing. And we can also use the kinds data analysis. And the apps, we can also use some third-party application, like using the Apache Kafka, Apache Spark, and do some data processing, and use some machine learning objects, and the predict something it was as a flaw, or it was going well, or it's something going wrong, like this. Consumers are the produce the data of the 2 megabytes per second per shade, and the distribution. This is a further analysis storing. For example, if you process the data and the store of the S3 bucket analysis data using the machine analysis, or using like key advantages of the managing. If you want to set up the Kafka, it's just like a Kafka. If you want to just a Kafka, it requires the complex setup and the clustering managing or the Kinesis data stream can be configured in the AWS. Is just the single clicks you can initiating the producer and the consumer. It in the seconds, but it's a Kafka. It's not like that. You need to set up to hours or the take days, and requires the through clusters based on the you can adjust the dynamics adjusting the share clusters based on the uh, internet flow, or it's not like that. In the shades you can in the data streams you can use the provision, click on the provision mode and create the data, kinds of data. It's automatically dynamic scaling and then increase or the decrease the shades. Then we have the stores the data from one day to Kansas data stream stay based on the your requirement. You can put the data or the store the data 1 day to 365 days depends upon your needs. So comparing with the Kafka and Kansas data streams, Kansas data streams for the Kafka are the serious simultaneous purpose. There is notable easy to use the Kansas requirements minimal setup, and then Kafka involves the provisions, the manual clusters, and which is takes days. I think the Kafka uh, it takes a more cost than Kansas data streams. It's a each shade it's a cost based on the 0.0. It takes the cost 0.015 dollars per hour. But the Kafka you need to and the setuping and attaching the multiple clusters together and the Kafka and the managing the brokers and the producers and the consumers, the produce the data and the consume the data. Everything in the Kafka it takes a lot of time. But consider data seems is in the second, so you can set up the everything within the 5 minutes or the 6 minutes. But the Kafka it takes you need to 1 or 2 days to set up the data. The consumers have a lot IoT sending the data to the consider. If the data device is a good offline, the data streams while the resuming. Once the device is connected, the consumer applications like Lambda or the Spark can be process the data in real time. They take the actions like triggering emails or the analysis trending or storing the result of the S3, the further analysis.